Hi. Um, this account has always been about um, growing a culture of care. And sometimes I've talked about it as parenting. Like, what do we do? How do we interact with our children in a way that creates a culture of care? And, a lot of that has just been like, how do we treat our children like people? Right? How do we recognize that they're not little adults? How do we meet them where they are? How do we teach them the things that they're going to need to know in order to be good community members, good friends, good partners, right? And then this account has sort of evolved, or my work with Landscape of Mothers. I moved beyond being a parent. My kids are grown now. As of next week, I will have no teenagers left, and everybody has gone out and is embracing their lives in the ways each of my offspring are embracing their lives. And so then this account kind of moved a little more toward the ways that I really think that even parenting is about growing our inner mother, right? If we want to do something different than our parents did, then we have to grow the kind of parent that we always wanted to have and never got. And so we have to look at some of those wounds and we have to take care of them, and we have to address our skills, the ways that we were taught to deal with conflict, to deal with communication, to deal with our own needs, to even recognize our own needs. And I'm starting now to think about ways that growing that inner mother is also about our communities. How do we become leaders, or unless leaders in the like, I'm going to tell you what to do kind of way, but how do we become beacons in our communities for a culture of care? How do we start to spread that beyond the confines of our immediate family or our best friends, into the rest of how we live in our day to day? And I think eventually that calls us to ask ourselves how we deal with our ancestry in a much bigger way. Like, how do we know our ancestors? What are we cultivating for our descendants? And it asks a bigger question of what would a culture of care that stretches back and forward look like? And I don't think we had, just like parenting, I don't think we had to have like the perfect ancestors in order to have repair with an ancestral line. So I'm just starting to think about Landscape of Mothers in all of these realms, in parenting, in the personal world, in the communal world, in the ancestral world. And I think the mothers apply to all of them, these ways and avenues of connecting to and cultivating a culture of care. So anyway, if all that's kind of starting to sound interesting, I invite you to take a look at Landscape of Mothers. I've been writing a bunch on Substack, and I have a series of articles coming out on Substack that start at the beginning, like with those those wounds of our own childhood. There's some stuff there about parenting, and there's more and more stuff growing about the inner mother, because I think the inner mother is really the place that we work when we're doing the parenting work anyway. We're not only parenting our kids, we're reparenting ourselves. And at the same time, we grow all of those skills. So anyway, welcome to Landscape of Mothers.